What is up, and welcome to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. Just had to kind of get past that track, right? That's just me, but I guess it's the mood that I'm in. But as I was saying, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. Now, if it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat. Say hello so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome, and so that I can know that you're here as well. And the tradition that I have around here is that the first thing I always do is to go and check out to see who are the first Camera Junkies in the chat. So let's go right ahead and do that. All right. First, right off the bat here, I have Randy saying hello to everyone. We also have Mr. Moderator, the Paul Duncan, saying hello to the fam. Gretchen in the house saying hello to the MCJ crew. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. She also says hi to Aiden, to myself. Looking forward to this. Oh, we're gonna have some fun because there's a lot of things that I'm very accustomed to in Photoshop that I'm gonna try to see how we figure them out on the fly in Affinity Photo. All right. We also have Parker Jennings in the house. Makes it official. How you doing? Everybody's saying hello to each other, including Gretchen saying hi to Parker. And a couple of things that I wanted to touch base, I guess kind of add a little section to the live stream. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, bro? Is some house cleaning, right? I guess certain things. One thing that I always forget, I should mention now, hit the like button. Please do so. It's highly appreciated. It's absolutely free. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about something new, which is like my lighting setup. Something new to let you guys know is that I am transitioning all of my lights to a new system, which is not new, but new for me. The Govee. So the Govee light setup, they basically have a replacement kit, same thing that I had previously with all of my other lights. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because these are a lot more powerful than the ad before mentioned previous ones that I had from Amazon. These are just the Amazon ones. Now they have a similar bulb, right, to this on it, but I threw them away on a couple of them, which is the ones that actually are starting to go bad, right? So there was one that I had in the bathroom that just wasn't connecting whatsoever, and another one which was behind the computer, the monster light, which was constantly giving me issues. So every time that I wanted to like restart it, it was almost like they lost Wi-Fi connectivity, so I would have to like disconnect them, reconnect them, and then I'd be able to manipulate them with the app. But it was already getting to be a bit of a pain, and one of the things is that I was seeing how I was going to replace them and looking for the same exact replicas. I was thinking, let's see what happens, right? But before that even came into occurrence of me looking for the ones that I had originally, the Amazon ones, to see if I could find the same kind to keep them all in the same family, basically to keep them from using the same app, I actually purchased these Govee light strips. Like there was a special on Amazon. They go for like $70 for this kit, but they were like on special discount, and with like taxes they came out to like 45 bucks around there, right? And shipped the next day. So I was like, okay, no brainer, because if I don't like them, it'll be easy to return. So they showed up the next day. I first configured them, and then I was able to connect them, and then with the wireless application to utilize those lights, I was like, oh, the app is a little bit nicer than the one that I was using with the Amazon lights. So that led me down the path of looking into what was available for Govi. Now, Govi has like the full line of like those hexagon lights and light cubes and things that you might see like in the background of a certain Mr. Moderator, right? But that was, I don't really have that much space. So I was doing a couple of things, which was I was cleaning out my closet, and we hoard all of our tech boxes, right? So I was halfway to removing all of them and throwing them out, so you could just see me in the closet just saying like, you know what, small boxes, and I'm just chucking them out. That when I turned around, it was just a massive amount that I was like, I'm just gonna throw it all away. But then as I was looking at my own, environment and looking on how to spruce up, I decided to make my box wall behind my computer. So I'm going to focus on that just so that you can see it a little bit better. The other way. Is that in focus? There you go. Yeah, so now I'm out of focus. The back wall, you can see I got like my Fuji camera box, my A6100 ZV1F, right? My little Mod Squad sticker, right? And like my Elgato gear, my Insta360, and all these boxes, for my lens, my 24 to 70 Zeiss, right? I had all these boxes in my closet, and now I was able to kind of like, I don't know how you would say it, like tetrify them, like Tetrisify them and throw them in the background, right? All right, so let me get back to focus on the face. All right. So with that being said, like I threw that on there, and what I was looking for was a light to illuminate it so that it just wouldn't be a bunch of clutter and just like dead. So that's where these Govi lights came in. Those worked out so well that now I looked into the other lights, and I found a 4-pack of these for like 20-30 bucks, but also with a Amazon discount of $5. So I got them for $25, and these were significantly brighter than these. So I'm gonna go to my secondary shot to show you, like, this is the same exact setup, and all I did was basically replace this Amazon bulb for the Govi, the same light shade on it, and now this whole thing is completely engulfed with this magenta glow. Like, I had to turn down the ISO on this camera because I'm gonna turn it back up to 800 like I had it. I had to turn it down to 500, and I'm gonna show you why. Because there's so much saturation of magenta that's like casting over me right now, but with that little tweak I'm able to control it. So this is how I had it, and this is the image that I was getting. I was like, wow, that totally changed the setup completely. That I was like, that is just very, how you would say, what was it? Cyberpunk. Yeah, very cyberpunk, like extremely cyberpunk. And I can see the cast all over my forehead here and everything. I was like, okay, so let's bring that down a notch. And now we got it set to 500, which allows the skin tones to remain a bit better. But that was just a simple quick fix on that. And that's the difference between the power output, and these are more designed for video. Why do I say that? Is because of that dreaded flicker rate that we always deal with, right? So all of these lights are designed to not flicker and designed better for video than the aforementioned Amazon 7 waters, so to speak. So I'm now in for it. I'm gonna go ahead and change everything so that I'm not using 2 applications, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to all of these Govi bulbs, right? And now have a much better setup. What I'm really going to figure out what I'm going to do, because I'm going to order another box of 4, because of how I had mentioned that I had this soft box, which I'll go to right here. Oh, you can't even see it in this shot. that softbox up here, right? The way that I have this softbox lit, I basically didn't have a official um, video light, right? So let me fix this again. I'm back. All right. So what I did was that I put one of the Amazon bulbs inside and kicked it on to 100%. And that's the trick with these Amazon bulbs. They have to be at 100%. If you try to dim them at all, you will instantly see the flicker, right? So the only way to prevent the flicker was to have them at full blast. But putting one bulb at full blast inside the softbox that I just showed you wasn't enough light to actually utilize it as a softbox. So I needed to multiply the output, and what I did was I bought a 4-light adapter and I put 4 of these bulbs in it, and I was able to turn off each individual bulb and basically give it a gradient of 25%, that when all 4 of them were on, it's 100%, and as I would shut one off, I would decrease either by half, 25%, so on and so forth. So this is my idea right now. I'm gonna order 4 more, I'm gonna put them in there, and I'm gonna see how I like it. At the same time, I'm going to compare it to this light bulb right here. So I'm gonna go right over here, which is, let me just turn it off real quick so that you can see it. It is the Aperture, forget the model number. I really do, because I don't remember which one this one. I'll look it up in a second. It's a BC7, I think. I could be talking out of my rear end, but I digress. Regardless, this guy right here is pretty strong. This guy is a dedicated video light. Oh, go ahead and put that back on and find the on button. There we go. And that one as well, being an Aperture dedicated light, that one at 100% does give an adequate output, that I'm thinking I'm gonna just put one of those in there and test it out, because that one bulb definitely gives enough flexibility with controlling of magenta and everything like that. So I'm gonna put that bulb in there, and if I like the way that the light looks with that bulb, I'm probably just gonna pick up another one of those just the same way. So I'll have those 2 Aperture actual video lights dedicated as like my main and key and bounce, and then I will use the Govee video, you know, like gamer tuber RGB lights everywhere else, including here, in my ceiling, in my bathroom, everywhere, so that once I also say, you know what, lights out, it's lights out. Yep, I see Kevin saying the B7C, so I said BC7. Thanks for the correction, sir. All right, let me go right back to the chat before I start editing these photos. Let me see here. Okay. Yep, Kevin's here saying, has everyone remembered to hit the like button? Appreciate you, sir. It goes Gretchen saying that she has. Gretchen says that the new lighting seems to give a softer look overall. Okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely going to be looking into it, but I'm definitely going to invest into these just to see which one I'm gonna get, because not too long ago this B7C light was still being sold for like $75. I just seen it on Amazon for like 55 bucks. So they're starting to go down, and it might be the right time to, you know, invest in those lights for the next foreseeable future. Kevin said, I've had my eye on the Govee down and up lights It's a string that has a bunch of little boxes on it with RGB chip in it. Yeah, I kind of got lost in the Amazon store, right, for Govi, and I was like, there's so much stuff. Like those hex cubes that I'm telling you, those really caught my eye. Like they're a bit pricey, but they look super cool. I don't think I have the real estate to actually put them up, but not only can you like color the insides, but I saw one where the effect basically just used it as an outline and it made it look like this 3D honeycomb like box like that was popping out just from the like a 2D light setup. It really looked cool. That box on the wall is awesome. Just wait till Aiden discovers that it's a giant Jenga game. Oh, please, because he's getting into everything right now. Hey, how you doing, Jeremy? Thanks for hanging out. Okay, and there we go. B7C says the aperture bulb is sweet. The Satis Link app makes it really great. Yep, absolutely. And this was a gift that I got just this past holiday season, Christmas season, when Brandon Marshall, listen to me, Brandon Marshall, no, man, words today. Brandon Washington from the Creative Fam, he was doing the 25 days of Christmas giveaway, and on the fourth day I won that light. So I would have never bought it on my own, but now that I have it and I utilize it, I was like, you know what, let me see. And now, like I said, might be the right time to strike, to just buy another one and have both of them in the Satis Link app. Scott is in the house also saying, what's up, crew? All right, that's something new, right? A little bit of house cleaning. So that's a bit of information. And I got a little bit more towards the end. But right now, we're going to get into learning and using this new application, Affinity Photo. Now, I remember just using it sparingly, the first version of Affinity Photo, and I saw that there was a lot of similarities to what I was already using with Photoshop, so there was really no reason to kind of move ship, so to speak. It's been a while that I have not been a user, and I'm just being upfront with everyone. It's been a while that I haven't been a subscription user of Adobe products, right? Because of their subscription base and how you needed to have everything under the cloud. It just wasn't for me. That's their business model, and I'm not knocking on it whatsoever, just not for me. And it was a while ago, to be honest, because it was the 2017 version that I was still using on Photoshop, because it was the last one that I paid for in full. Right, so now that was like mine, and before they jumped into the cloud service, I was like, okay, that's the last one that I'll buy, and that's the one that I had even up till now. So that's what I had available. So when I went to edit these photos, and by the way, I'm editing some photos for a new project from Doc Rock, his Doc pop filters. So we're just going to be cleaning these up and doing them for the words today, product photography. Let me get a sip of this Monster Juice to see if it kickstarts something. So I wanted to see if there was something newer available right now, excuse me, comparative to using my old 2017 Photoshop, that I was like, damn, that's getting close to 10 years, so to speak, right? We're way past the 5-year mark, better said, when it comes to the software. So with that being said, I looked into Affinity Photo. I just started a 7-day free trial, and just right off the bat, I recognized that I was literally shooting myself in the foot, because there was a lot of steps that I would take to do my cleanup in Photoshop that is basically like a one-click button now in Affinity. So join me as we learn Affinity Photo together. All right, so let me, okay, it's open up already. All right, we got Mulain in the house saying hello to everyone, saying hello to myself. Sly is also here, says, love the creative way you keep your boxes. Oh, I will drop the link for the lights. I will do that. You know what? Let me go ahead and do that now so that I don't forget. My orders. Okay, here's the product. They're called Govee Glide Wall Lights. And yeah, right now they're at $45. So I guess I got them on a sale, or no, wait, let me just make sure. Yeah, that's the price that they are right now. So maybe they were just changing the price and that's why I got them for $45, but they still told me that it was a sale. Regardless, what you're getting for $45, definitely worth the price. Yeah, because it's 45 and they're giving you a $6 coupon. I probably should get another one. That's what I should do. Here we go. All right. All right, so that's the link for Sly. And now that that's done, Scott says he's still on Photoshop 2007. Let's go. All right, so as you can see, that is not that uncommon, right? Because it was just like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? I'm still doing what I need to do. But like I said, you know, there's a thing that I do with my photography, frequency separation, and the steps in the process as to do so in Photoshop is a one-click filter application in this, which is like, what? So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna learn that together. All right, so, oh, I will do. Aiden, everybody's saying hello to you, Mr. Prince. What's this? Oh. Well, before I get into that, I have a dad duty that I must attend to right now. So for the time being, just gonna put the music up a little bit and I will be right back. Oh, I think I have a BRB screen, which I'm gonna get to use for the first time. What? Nope, I must have hit it. Well, let me get to my duties. All right. For those of you who are new, just to explain, there's only one rule around here: Aiden's first. That's it. And now that he's good to go, we're gonna keep it rolling. Jeremy says, people talking about jumping ship on Adobe with the whole AI thing. I know all Affinity apps are 50% off now as a result. I was looking at that because I was gonna mention that in a bit. Like, it's at like $35. And it's like $35 one-time purchase, right? And then you decide if you want to get the next version, right? I think, hey, I'm glad that there's still this type of option on the market, because there's still also free options. I think there's Photo P, right? Like it's it's like photo.p is a website which allows you to use a similar type application just like Photoshop for free, completely web-based. So there's a lot of different options, but I like to have my things on my computer so that I can still work, maybe during the times where maybe it's raining outside and there's no internet because there's some commotion, and because you don't have that access, you no longer have access to the application. And a lot of times when I don't have access to internet applications is when I try to always use local applications, because it's like taking advantage of your time at best. Oh, thank you for the sentiment, Scott. And Paul says Marshall uses Affinity. Yeah, for like all of his stuff. So, well, that's the thing that also drew me to this set of programs, is because I also have Affinity Designer, and the same thing, one-time purchase. And because that's what I was using for certain files, I was like, this is almost like a no-brainer. But let's get to it. Okay, let me close out the Amazon. Okay, we're here. And here we are. All right. So I'm going to get to it. Now, this is the application. So you can see it might look similar to what we're all familiar with, certain Adobe products, but we're going to learn it together because I really haven't used it. I installed it and I went to go mess around. I figured that I can do frequency separation with one click, and then I just didn't do anything else so that we can do it together here on the live stream. Now, what I had mentioned before is that I'm going to be opening up. Oh, let's see if it's this easy. Can I just drag and drop? Looks like it. Boom. That looks awesome. Okay, so I just downloaded these applications. Now, this is what I was mentioning before, that this is Doc Rock's pop filters, right? And we're going to be doing some cleanup and some fixing on this file. Now, first thing that I usually do on my Photoshop files is that I create a duplicate, right? Which is usually found right here in this menu. So let's see if we can find that here. Edit all layers, mask layer, adjustments, layer effects, live filters, group layers, add a pixel layer, and remove layer. Okay, we double clicked the lock and we unlocked the image. Okay, so let's see about that. Let's go ahead and click this. Okay, so I just right clicked on it because I did not see the duplicate, but let's see if the options right there. So we're going to duplicate and we have our duplicate file. All right, so we're already looking good. Seems very intuitive, very easy. So we'll continue. All right. Next thing that I'm going to do is start looking at my options for cleanup, right? Like the brushes and the clone stamp tools, so that we can start cleaning up the image that we have here in file. Now, you might see this and you're like, hey, this is perfectly fine. But we're doing this for, product photography purposes. So there's a lot of things here that I can see that is like completely unacceptable that we would have to fix. There's a lot of dust in this image. And you know what? We might have to go to the next one. Let's take a look here. Okay, right now I'm just guessing, as we're just using a Mac computer, that I'm gonna hit Command plus, and Command plus allows us to zoom. Okay, this looking good already. Now I'm gonna take this hand and drag. We're trying to focus on a pop filter, and it looked like it back focused on the Rode logo more than the actual pop filter itself. So for the time being, I don't see this as the photo to actually work on. All right, now that we have this here, let's see exactly, because I just dragged and dropped it, right? But now I don't see where to close out this image as an Xbox right off the bat. I'm just taking another scan. I don't see it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close. It's going to ask me to save. I don't want to save this. We'll just continue. Let's move on to the next image. I actually thought that, you know, not thinking too much ahead, so to speak, I only transferred 2 files over to this computer. I'm like, that should be enough. But if the first one isn't usable, okay, this one looks the same. Okay, so now this is where we go on the fly. All right, and I'm gonna open up my laptop because that's actually where I had those files. So right now I'm gonna open the folder. And let me go ahead and scan this image real quick. Oh, no, that opened it. I just need a quick view by hitting the space bar. Okay, so we might have to reshoot that. Okay, so we're just gonna, let me airdrop this image over to, oh no, wrong computer. You know, I'm gonna put a feature request to Apple. I'm saying it here, but I'm gonna have to do it, right? So I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I want to be able to rename my computer as what it gets shown as in the airdrop, because both my Mac Mini and my Mac Studio come up as me because they're both connected to the same account. So I have to always send it to both, so to speak, and see which computer is the one that actually, you know, like recognizes it. So regardless, first world problems, right? All right. We're going to go ahead here and we're going to go back to Affinity Photo, and I'm going to hit Command W, which is a universal Mac shortcut to close whatever you're doing. So there you go. We're going to close that. We're going to grab this next image, which is of the MV7. And this one looks a lot better. As you can see, we zoom in and we get nice, crispy, sharp results over the pop filter, which is exactly what we're looking at, right? Or what we're promoting in the photo. All right, let's go back a bit and let's start looking at our tools. That should be like here, there, right? Okay. So first I'm going to click onto my brush, and it just clicked the brush. Let's see what options we have. It says paintbrush tool, color replacement brush tool, and pixel tool. Okay, we're going to continue. We're going to click this brush. It doesn't really tell me what it is. Paint mixer brush. Maybe not the one I'm looking for. Eraser brush. What is this wand? No, that's selection tool, which makes sense. Gradient tool, flood fill tool. Okay, so this looks like clone brush tool. All right. Is this all we have? No options. Dodge brush tool. But I have options there. Erase brush tool. Okay, so there's an option. There's 3 options in the erase brush tool, which is the actual tool itself, background erase brush, and flood erase. Okay. Now, what are you? Undo brush tool. Okay, very interesting. This is very, very, very generic, as you can see. Like, it looks like it's taking all the hardships that we've done for so many years, well, at least myself, in Photoshop, and making it a lot easier. Like, if I could just go to an area and be like, undo this area right here of whatever I could have possibly done, then this might be a win. Let me see what you guys are saying. Gretchen says Affinity has some interesting infrared processing options that have intrigued me. Interesting. Paul says I should be able to rename my machine. Okay, then I'm gonna look into it, because it's probably something simple and I'm overlooking it because I'm thinking it's way more complex. You see, because that's exactly how I have it. Like, that's what I've been experiencing. But Paul says, seem to remember when I had 2 minis in the studio, I could tell the difference. Yeah. Well, you know what? It also could be an update to the airdrops, because I also believe that the airdrop used to tell me like which item it was and would give me the photo instead of like my Apple ID. It would be of the item. So I think that's what they've changed recently, and which is what's making it a lot more difficult. Okay, so Kevin says he's gonna check. Thank you for that. Let me know, even if you send me a message on Discord. All right, let's go back to it. All right, we're gonna go back to our tools. We have a clone stamp, but now if it's supposed to be easier, right? All of the applications now, they basically have this magic eraser, which is like, hey, you just go into this area and it just does it magically, including Photoshop. So let's see if we find something similar to that here. Healing brush tool. Okay, this sounds interesting here. Oh my god, look, they basically got it down to tools instead of like the archaic way. Red eye removal tool. So you just like, hey, remove the red eye. Blemish removal tool. Healing brush tool. Okay, this is it's getting interesting. All right. This pen. Not sure what this is doing. It's just a pen tool, I guess, for selections. Rectangle tool. Mesh warp tool. This almost looked like oh, I forgot how you even say that. Anyways, I'm not gonna squirrel myself on a word. Okay. Paint mixer. I'm gonna go with clone stamp. No, not clone stamp. Let's do the healing brush tool. Let's see what we get with this. All right, right off rip, I'm gonna zoom in, and these are the things that I'm looking at, right? Spacebar. Okay. This little thing that I'm circling right there, that's a speck of dust, right? Now, when we have this item in our hands, we don't see these things. But when it comes to still photography, you can see that we can just trace along the sides, and you can see all of this fuzz, all of these little specks. This is what we'd be cleaning up. And it sounds like really, like that's what you're doing. But yes, because once it's in a still image with such high fidelity, your eyes are gonna go to all these things. It's very different than when you have, you know, the item in your hand. So we're gonna hit spot healing brush. Okay, it's telling me you must click the plus controls. What? To set a source before. Okay, so this is working similar to the Photoshop aspect. Okay, so it's telling me that I have to hit what option and I click. So okay, let's see. Okay, as soon as I hit the option button, right, I believe that's, let me correct myself. Yes, because I'm still, oh, when it comes to the keyboards, I'm still flipping flopping with Windows. So okay, it's not the alt, it's the option key. So we hit option, and now it's telling us to select where we want to go. Now right here on top is telling me current layer. I want to switch that to current layer and below. Oh, you see, I almost messed up, right? We're gonna unlock this and we're gonna duplicate it. Boom. So we're working on the second layer, and that's why we want current and below, because we want to give it as much information possible, and it's going to use both layers so that it can understand what was originally there to what it is that we're trying to remove. And it's kind of like giving it a backbone, right? Have you ever had a file that you were transferring instead of copying over, and it died in the middle of the transfer, and now the file is dead because it was like in limbo halfway? It's kind of similar to this. Sometimes when you just have one layer and you ask it to do a command like this of like cleaning up, it removes the entire chunk, and it doesn't have like the backbone behind it, so it doesn't know what to replace it with, and it kind of can make it a little bit more difficult, and it gets a bit wonky, especially with straight lines. So that's why I always use current and below layers and create the secondary layer so that it has that backbone to always come back to. Plus you could always turn it on and off, right? So that you can see the differences that you've done in your work from the finished product to what you were dealing with originally, right? All right. So we're here, current and below. And let's see here. That's fine. The brush selection. I'm trying to find these options. The option that I'm looking for right now in Affinity is basically giving me the option to tell it how I want it to remove this information. I don't see it, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click on it to see what it does. But just to give you a little bit more information, in this area, what I would do is that I would select it to only change the pixels that are lighter in color than the source. So what I would do is that I would select the option and I would click on the area right above it, right? And now that that's my selected area, that's the source that it's pulling to replace from, right? But I would want it that it would only replace the pixels that are lighter than that color, meaning the white speck of dust. And what it would do in Photoshop is that it would just convert the white dust to black, matching it with the same exact color, making it invisible. And you're not really replacing all the pixels, you're just replacing the white pixels there. So let's see what it does. Actually, I'm gonna, ooh, see, that was not good. I'm actually trying to change the size of the brush. So 64 pixels. There's got to be a keyboard shortcut, but I digress. All right, we're gonna close. That looks a lot better. Once again, we're gonna select this option. Actually, because it's more of a clone stamp, I'm gonna go right next to it. All right, that works. All right, we're gonna click here. I'm even gonna make this brush a bit smaller as well. I want to make it even that much more refined. Let's take it to 7 around there. That looks good. All right. And now we're just gonna click away. Okay, this is not too bad. What it's doing is that it's moving the source point, as you can see, adjacent to my mouse click. So you see this, that is like to the human eye. We're just gonna remove all of that. Boom, and that looks good. Okay. Trusting in the system, right? I'm going back from my Stream Deck to my keyboard. Okay. Option. Click here. That looks good. All right. That looks like good separation here. All right. Okay. So whenever I want to change the location of the source, all I'm doing is hitting the option key, holding it down, clicking, and that becomes the new source point, right? Allowing me to then change it and remove all of these tiny little microscopic specks. I will click right next to it to clean up. And this is the meticulous work. I didn't like that. I don't know if that translated, it like killed the line. This is still more clone stampy. So let me see. It's telling me to flip what. Let me check to see if you guys have any tips whatsoever. Okay, they're still talking about airdrop. Kevin says, looks like the far left is the width box. Oh, but the blend mode, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is what I'm looking for out of this tool. I right clicked, I didn't find that. Current below. Oh, it's actually in the same window. Okay, it's underneath. I'm just not seeing it yet. Blend mode, perfect. Okay, so you see, this is what I was looking for. There's darken, right, and lighten. So at this point, we're trying to remove dust, so I want to darken, right? And that should be set. So let's close that and let's see if this works to my liking. So once again, I'm going to select the source, being this section. And no, that did not work the way I wanted. Absolutely not. Okay, we learned. We learned. All right, let's see if there is more. Oh, it said no associated tool. Okay, so let's see if maybe I have to put it to, what is this one? The healing brush tool. Okay, so let's see. Healing brush tool, darken, save. We're going to try it one more time. No. Once again, another fail. All right. Let's see. We're going to give it one more time. Well, for right now, I'm not going to set a blend mode because that totally didn't. Hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. Like, did I have to click the button so that it's effective? We're gonna find out. Nope. Yeah, that's horrendous. Horrendous. All right, let's go back to how we had it. At least that was working. Okay. I'm not liking the way that's looking. Let me see if I'm gonna double check myself to see if I'm misnaming it, or maybe, hey, you know what? We're gonna Google. Boom, let's do that. Maybe I'm doing it with the wrong tool. Okay, let's see this. I just click the brush, paintbrush tool, the width, I'm gonna bring it back down to 5-6 pixels. Okay, let's not just click away at stuff like that. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Darken is the blend mode. Paintbrush tool, right? Paintbrush tool. We're gonna click the thing just to make sure that it's custom. We're gonna close it. This is, run this. That's not what I wanted. Color replacement brush tool. Okay, maybe this is it. It's not doing anything. Okay. Once again. Paintbrush tool. Let's see. Kevin says, is the brush still too large and getting the lighter areas as a target? You know what? We're going to test it out. Thank you for that bit of insight, because I wouldn't have thought of that. But let's go ahead. Bring this down to 2 pixels. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing, am I? Okay, color replacement tool. I don't think this is it. Okay, let me go back to the clone stamp one, right? That in it. Did I mess it up? Oh, I'm using the wrong tool. Okay, this was it. The healing. Okay, my bad, my bad. I was like, that was not nowhere near the results that I was getting before. Okay, that's a lot better. See? Click. Click. All right. We're back in business. All right, so let me see if I can go back to that area and get rid of those little spots there. And what's crazy is that I see it, right? So if I see it, I kind of have to get rid of it. That's the OCD of my photo editing aspect. All right, this is not too bad, but I gotta be honest, I still feel that it's just my novice way of knowing this application. Like, I still feel that there's a easier way of getting this done, or finding that blend mode that I'm looking for, where it only changes the colors of the pixels that I'm looking for, right? Because that's ideal. It doesn't change the photo at all. It's just changing the color of those pixels. So it's changing the dust to the native color of the element behind it, making it part of that element. See, like these little extra fuzzies coming off of the microphone, all that's gone. All right. Where are we? Oh, we're at 11. Okay. So, right now that we're just learning this aspect, you're seeing how meticulous I'm getting into, or how zoomed in I am to getting rid of like the dust particles. But I'm letting you know that I'm seeing everything. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this purple area, and I'm going to get rid of this line here, right? It's like, I guess, like a little dust hair or something like that, and the dust will be present here just the same way. So it's not like that this is going to get away with not being cleaned up itself, right? This is the piece de resistance, so to speak, and this is why, this is what we're trying to sell. So definitely I'm going to take my time in cleaning up this aspect as well. Like, I see this little speck of dust right there. Boom, gonna get rid of it, right? Certain things that you might not even see, but nobody else will ever see, because I'm gonna go ahead and clear this up. Are you okay, buddy? Yo, hold on, let me check you out. Let me see your face. Okay. Remember, Aiden's first. Okay, now that we're here, I'm going to take you to this next step, because once I'm done cleaning up all of this, right? And that I'm able, actually, let me see how, is it hide? Did I just, oh, I guess this is the dot. Okay, so just so that we can see the difference. So really wasn't sure what the dot was, but now we know that's active layer to show it or not. So right now we're seeing the layer that we've adjusted and that we've cleaned up for just a little bit. And then just to show you the original, what we adjusted, the original with all the dust particles, what we adjusted. And the more you get into it, the more difference, or the more meticulous you're going to see this. So now, with this being said, once I'm done removing all the dust, especially from like the bottom part, everything, right, I'm gonna smooth out the wrinkles in the fabric in the background and in the foreground. And once all that's said and done is where I'm gonna take it to the next step, which is the last tip that I want to give you guys, which is how I make my images like extra sharp in the way that I want them to, right? Without losing or adding extra bokeh, right, to the to your image. So what I do is I take this image and I would do an entire process of frequency separation in Photoshop, and now it's as simple as doing a filter, doing frequency separation, which is like, so now I was saying a 2 pixel radius on the frequency separation, and you're able to slide so that you can see the before and after. And what you're seeing is that you're seeing the blurry layer, right? What's not, kind of out of focus, and what we're highlighting in focus. Now, because we have the entirety of the mic cover, you know, the pop filter within this image, right, we're pretty much good to go, because that's what we want to. But if we wanted to increase that, we could increase it by adding the pixel radius, as you can see the difference right there. But it was all the way down to 2, And I usually go for like about 4 to 5. So I'm gonna go to 4.9, and we can see a little bit of the fuzz of the microphone with of the pop filter, and that's exactly where I like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit apply, and this is done. It separated my frequencies for me already, and they're done. So to show you the difference, I can take off the top layer and it goes blurry, because that is the focus or the sharpness frequency, right? We throw that back on there, and then if I were to remove, right, the color aspect and like the background, you will only see the sharpness layer that we've separated, right? So now we add the original background, right? And we can see that adding this high frequency layer definitely gives it like this extra crisp like detail into it, like hyper real, right? You're just throwing it on there, you're like, man, how? And that's through the frequency separation, because it's basically getting the original file and then throwing the extra layer of sharpness, or basically doubling it up. But that's not how we're going to use it, because that one's not going to be the fixed layer, right? We're only going to do the frequency after we've completed all of the cleanup of all of the dust, because the trick is that we're going to take this layer, and because I understand it now, we're just going to duplicate that layer, right? And now we basically done the same exact thing. We have 2 layers of high frequency, right, of sharpness, and 1 layer of color in the background. So as I turn these on and off, as you can see, we've doubled up that sharpness, which was kind of taking the pixel radius from 5 to 8 to 15, right? And adding all of this. But there's a method to my madness, is because 1 layer is the original amount, the high frequency effect is the secondary amount, but I don't want to keep the opacity 100%. I'm going to take the opacity and I'm going to take it onto the second layer, and I'm going to drop it to half. And that is my little secret sauce when it comes to the amount of information that I want to add to it. So adding that 50% just gives it that little extra layer of crispness. And now when we add that, just to show you the little difference in that extra sharpness. And when we zoom into the image, it's not like we've adjusted any of the pixels, because we just kind of stack the same exact pixels on top of each other. And that, to give you a better illustration of how I'm able to take my standard images, and this is also what I do for portraits, right? You know, you get the eye in focus, and then you do this frequency layer to double up on that focus layer where the eyes are super sharp, and you're able to transmit that onto the same image without like spoiling the natural bokeh that you have in the image by adding more blur to the background, when it will make it look, you know, unoriginal, so to speak. It makes it look fake, in my opinion. So that is more or less like a finalized image once I have done all of that. And then what I would do next in Photoshop, to see if we can do it here, is that I would flatten the image, right? That's exactly what I would do. So turn that one off. Let's see if I can merge these layers. Or let me see how I would do it. Collapse? Nope. Not group, but merge all layers. Didn't I see that? Okay, merge visible layers. Okay, that's not usually how is done in Photoshop, but if I were to turn these off, we have our final image. I can, I guess, once again, I know there'll be a better way of doing it, but at the end of the day, I would say I'm done with this image, right? Even though this is not going to be the final product, I didn't finish cleaning it up. But I will leave it to one final layer, and then I will export this, and that would be how I would complete my kind of like cleanup when it comes to product photography. Definitely go into the meticulousness of cleaning up all that dust, because if you just compare right here what I'm looking at, the top part of this microphone to just the floor or the base, you know, around it, is like night and day, you know. But going into that detail and then using other trips before you do the frequency separation to blur out the backgrounds and things like that, and the frequency separation will really help out with the finalization of the image. So this has been this episode of learning Affinity Photo on the fly. There's a couple of things that I know that I'm probably just going to Google just to make sure that I'm getting the correct shortcuts, so on and so forth, going. Kevin, thank you for helping me out with seeing like the pixel width and stuff like that. Even that simple little knockdown here just helps a lot with whichever brush that we're using. So with this special discount, right, with the special discount that's going on, the 50% off, you know, because of Adobe's faux pas, I would say this is almost like a no-brainer. I'm thinking I'm just gonna buy the whole bundle of the latest versions of Affinity. I think right now you can get 3 programs for like $89, right? And that, like, to me, that's like a no-brainer, because obviously, as you can see, the application works a lot better. This one, more than anything, is designed for Apple Silicon, which is where my 2017 model was really holding back. Now, I didn't have any issues when I was still using my Intel Mac, but transferring that, you know, that file, that program, and porting it over to the Mac or the M1 chip side just wasn't really working that well. And even though I was still able to finish products, there was a lot of things, mostly with exporting, that were really getting hung up with the new codecs and stuff like that, with the types of files that we're dealing with, the new compression formats and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna be pulling the trigger. Well, I say I think, I know I am. I'm gonna buy the suite of Affinity products, and maybe this convince you to do the same. But definitely take a look into it. I see all the potential, and I don't see that I am limited whatsoever with this application. From what I'm seeing here, there's gonna be a learning curve, right? But there was a much bigger learning curve when I first hopped into my first Adobe product. So the transition is going to be a lot smoother. And now with the implementation of Google itself and the internet, any question or any hiccup that I can come up with, I'll be able to just find the answer. And the power of YouTube University is there to help me as well. So that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna continue rocking with this. I tried to do something and it's not working too well. Oh, the camera turned off. Aha. Okay, so what happened is I tried using the HDMI as my overhead camera for today, right? It's gonna get a higher picture quality because now we're using HDMI and not the USB-C. So it's not limited to 720p. It's receiving a 4K image, even though it's pumping out a 1080 image because of the capture card. But now the camera's shutting off because I'm past an hour and it seems like it's doing nothing. So there we go. We live and we learn. So we got that camera, we got that camera, we got that camera, and we got that camera. And we are all done. Now, I was not able to set up a cities GA this week, so I'm so sorry that I don't actually have a segment for cities GA, but I do have an announcement, which is part of what I had mentioned before. In replacement of this week's cities GA, segment, I will put the thing down and let you know that Cities Gaw has now officially become a podcast. So this little section now, channels that I think you should go and watch, is now an official podcast because I recorded my first episode of Cities Ga, the podcast, and I already have the album or the cover art for it, and I already have 3 or 4 more people lined up. And as soon as I have 4 recorded episodes, green light, and it's going. It's gonna be on YouTube. I'm gonna be using um one of these hosting programs, Captivate, to do it. I'm gonna have the pod page, and it's going to be exactly that, channels that I think you should go and watch. And it's the podcast based around the segment that I think we all enjoy so much. And I'm taking a really new like angle towards the podcast where it's going to be a lot more laid back. I'm not going to pretend as if I know like the ins and outs of all of these people. I don't have the research team behind me to do so. So for that reason, I'm going to reach out to them to get to know them on the fly as we learn about these creators together. At the same time, I'm just going to be asking questions as if it was a person that I met for the first time, because in a lot of cases that's exactly what it's going to be. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's not only limited to camera junkies, right? It's channels or creators that I think you should go and watch. And the one consistent that I already used and I'm gonna continue to use is that the last question that I ask is, who's your city's god, right? Who's the channel or a creator that you think we should all go and watch, to keep that kind of trail running and allowing me to get a lot more people to look into myself so that they could be potential guests on the Cities God podcast as well. So it's official, it's done. I'm saying it here. I've already recorded my first episode. I'm waiting for the other scheduled appointments to get in line so that I can record those, and we're just going to continue rolling. And the same way that I see this live stream every week, I don't see an end in sight when it comes to Cities Gone. So I'm really excited about it, right? And I just see a lot more fun and interesting conversations to be had from here on out. So it's official. Cities Got is a podcast. And as soon as I have all the links, you know that I will be referencing them here and dropping them in the descriptions down below so that everyone knows where to find it. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm glad to be able to share that with all of you Camera Junkie crew who basically made this possible. But we're 17 minutes past the hour, and we did it. This has been episode 185, and if it was your first time here, let me explain what that means. That is 185 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. We do it every single week, Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So mark it down on your calendars. Set the time aside so that you don't miss next week when we do it all over again. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces right here as we walk and rock into episode 186 a week from today. So we did it. Thank you as always to everyone here in the Camera Junkie crew. You make this the place where I want to be every single week. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all next time. Talk to you.